a wreath around it, and in the middle, the word merit was sewn in. And then it was redesigned in 1932 by General MacArthur, service medal that honors a service member who was wounded in action or killed in action. And that's what it represents today.
For those that have been wounded, injured, or given their life for the defense of this country, how important is it in your mind that we not forget their sacrifices? Because I tell people, we have Memorial Day, but if you're a Gold Star family, Memorial Day is every day. And we have Veterans Day, and we honor our veterans. But these people that have won, and I'm not sure, I want to make sure I say this correctly, have been awarded the Purple Heart. I don't think anybody wants to win it. But if you've been awarded the Purple Heart and you've been recognized for your bravery and the physical toll that you've endured, how important is it that we remember these guys these gals that are walking around with injuries that never go away?
Yeah, there's two things. The first job of a Purple Heart recipient is to be grateful. And the first thing to be grateful for is that you were able to make it home. And so for all Purple Heart recipients that made it home, there's a deep sense of gratitude, because we also wear the Purple Heart in honor of those that didn't make it home. So recognizing that, but for me, it was, for an extra moment, an extra mile per hour slower, I would have been killed by an IED on New Year's Eve of 2006 in Iraq. So I feel incredibly grateful. And then I feel incredibly honored to carry on the legacy of those that didn't return home. And so carrying that story forward, making sure that we don't forget, is a deeply meaningful role inside of the community. And we're connected to the nation's past, but we're also a living legacy, which means that we're shepherding the values of the Purple Heart as instilled by Washington from our founding to the present day.
So July 3rd, I'm on the Metro. I'm up in D.C., and we're on our way to the Capitol for the Great American State Fair. And we were sitting next to a family, and one of them had on a Purple Heart hat with insignias on it. And, quietly, when we were getting off the Metro down near the Smithsonian, shook his hand, said, "Thank you for your service." How much does that mean to someone who has that Purple Heart award that you just get recognized and thanked?
I think it means everything. And the reason I say that is because there are always going to be generations of kind of the way American patriots interact with our history and with our veterans. And one of the things we learned, especially from the Vietnam era, is that it's very important to acknowledge service, to recognize it, and to share that sense. And so by going up to a Purple Heart recipient and saying, "Thank you for your service," you're doing two things. One, you're showing gratitude for someone who served on your behalf. But two, you're just keeping that act of recognition alive. I mean, there were times when service members came home and they were told not to wear their uniforms in public because it wasn't safe to do so. And so now, when you normalize honoring people for their service and recognizing their service, you're doing a very patriotic thing. So it's very meaningful to do that kind of thing.
All right. So it comes up this week, August 7th, Virginia War Memorial. It's going to be very inspiring. Ben King, who's the commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, is joining us here on News Radio WRVA, because I am concerned, because I am seeing some backsliding on Americans, and I'm seeing some, how do I put it, some people that are backsliding a little bit, that they're becoming cynical, I guess. When you talk about the military, you talk about service. I want to make sure that doesn't happen during my lifetime. I think it's important that we honor and we talk about these stories, and we're not afraid to show those that served, particularly those that were Purple Heart recipients, that we show them all the love and gratitude we can, because we talk about these things all the time. I mean, I think it's important that we're thankful. I see recruiting is through the roof, which is fantastic. But I want to make sure we take care of the men and women that have served and have worn our nation's cloth. And I think this is an important time to do so, Ben.
Yeah, the theme of this year's Commonwealth Purple Heart Day at the Virginia War Memorial is sacred honor and living legacy. And what sacred honor represents, just bare bones, it's the last two words of the Declaration of Independence. And what that basically says is that you have infinite value and infinite potential inside of you. That was the founding document. That was the basic bet that our founders made, that we could recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary. And if we recognize that together and build a society around that belief, then we can do amazing things. And the very first most amazing thing that was done from that foundation was Washington winning and beating the British, the greatest military the world had ever known. So out of ordinary Americans came a fighting force organized by George Washington that beat the greatest military the world had ever known. So that's our history. That's who we are as Americans, and that's what we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of. But the second piece of this puzzle, or this theme, is the living legacy. So what is the living legacy? The living legacy that we all can participate with, it is quite literally, as Americans, our birthright, is this relationship between recognizing the extraordinary inside the ordinary. And one of the things that I'm going to point out over this ceremony is I'm going to tell everyone about the story of one of the Virginia War Memorial's volunteers. Her name was Janet Clements. And 2 years ago, she came to our Purple Heart Day ceremony. She's not a military person, but she came with the picture of her uncle, Sergeant Harry Young. And you listen to this. So Sergeant Harry Young was a B-29 tail gunner and a swing music trumpeter. Okay.
Okay.
So listen to this. He was the tail gunner, right? So he's the tail gunner in the back of this bomber. And he used to play the trumpet in the B-29 bomber to entertain his guys.
Wow.
So this is going on back in World War II. Now listen to this. They get into a bombing run and they get shot down over Tokyo. Okay.
Wow.
This is late in the war, 1945. He gets captured. He becomes a POW. Oh, wow. And in a terrible but infamous event called the Tokyo Prison of War fire, he died in that POW camp, and his remains were so burned so badly that they were unidentifiable. So 2 years ago, Janet comes with his image, and he's a Purple Heart recipient, to our Purple Heart ceremony 2 years ago.
Right.
And she starts talking about wanting to ensure that Harry is brought home. Well, guess what I did yesterday? Yesterday,
Tell me.
Yesterday, I was at Arlington National Cemetery for the reinterment of Sergeant Harry Young. Rich, I was so honored to sit inside the living legacy of sacred honor, because I didn't do anything. I simply listened to the niece of a World War II veteran tell a story. I said, how can I help? How can I help you do the work that you need to do? And that's what she did. She grinded for 2 years.
Really?
And for 2 years, she did the work to help the DPAA identify the remains. And she came up to me and gave me this coin. And I said, look, I did hardly anything. You did this. You found the extraordinary inside the ordinary, and you changed the world. She literally changed the world, this single person. this is who we are as Americans. This is what we do. This is what it means to have sacred honor as a part of us. And if the military order of the Purple Heart can do anything, it's just to remind everybody that inside of all humans is sacred honor. And when we serve others, we're living the legacy.
Incredible. I'd love to meet her. I would love to meet her.
She's at the War Memorial. She's a volunteer at the Virginia War Memorial.
All right, I'm going to call Dr. Mountcastle. I got to meet her. Okay, this all takes place August 7th, which is this Friday, 11 a.m. And it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. So I ask everyone that can go, please come by, whether you're military or family or not. Let's honor our Purple Heart.
May I say one more thing, Rich?
Absolutely.
We have the Legacy Purple Heart coin. It's a very simple coin. It has the badge of military merit on one side, the modern Purple Heart medal on the other side. And this Legacy coin is meant for people to honor service. So for everybody who comes to the Purple Heart ceremony on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Virginia War Memorial, they will have the opportunity to receive one of these coins. And what we're going to invite people to do is to recognize the value of service in others. And so when they take one of these coins home with them, they're going to be asked to give that coin to someone who is serving the community, someone who's not trying to serve the community for personal gain or to become famous, but just someone who is serving the community because they're honored to do it. And we want the community to celebrate that. And so we're going to be giving away these coins, and we want people to take those coins from the War Memorial and put them in the hands of those American patriots who are doing the work under the radar, but who've identified in themselves the value and the love of country by serving others. And so that's what Purple Heart recipients have been doing since the very beginning, and we're honored to continue living that legacy.
Wow. Will you thank Dr. Clay Mountcastle for us? And I do want to give a special shout out to the Virginia Department of Veteran Services. I met with folks over there. We're getting more involved, making sure we take care of our veterans. I think people know when I've been talking about this, we're having our golf tournament. We're going to raise money for Tunnel to Towers. Hopefully we'll never have to have anybody need their services here, but we're going to pay it forward. And then Ben, we just announced I'm going to start doing some grilling out at Tom Leonard's one Saturday a month, and the proceeds from my cookout will go to charities. And the first one we chose was Wreaths Across America.
Nice.
So we're going to support our military community and our veterans the best way that we can. Wow. I don't know what to say, Ben. You kind of messed up the whole show. We went long. I'm absolutely speechless. I got goosebumps listening to that story, and God bless you, and thank you for sharing that with
Rich,
me.
I was crying like a baby yesterday at Arlington, man.
I am right now.
I can't even tell you, man. It was amazing. I can't even believe it. Listen, one more thing. Sergeant Young, Harry.
Yeah.
He didn't have kids. He was like a 20-some-year-old guy. He played the trumpet in the back of this B-29, and I can just every time I think about him, I think about him in the tail gunner. He was just tearing away at the Japanese bombers that were coming after him, and that on the way down he was just trying to keep it together. And then in the POW camp, like I think about that. I think about that a lot. Like that's our legacy. That spirit that kept him going, and then the fact that he was reinterred yesterday
in Arlington.
Man, it was
incredible.
It was I got it. Goosebumps again, man. Goosebumps
absolutely.
Again.
Ben, thank you. I will talk to you
brother.
soon.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, 9:19. Dave, I'm sorry. We completely went over time, but we needed to hear that story. That was incredible. You guys want to comment? 833-804-1140. I'm not sure how none of you are crying right